The original Legend of Zelda was released on February 21st of 1986. It very quickly became a success and ended up going on to sell over 6.5 million copies. But the question I have for today is, does the original Legend of Zelda still hold up? Before we can answer that question though, we have to discuss the pros and cons. When it comes to the pros the Legend of Zelda has going for it, there are 5 major ones that stand out to me. Starting off with the music. While being incredibly simplistic, the music in this game is super fun to listen to, and I mentioned it multiple times on my last playthrough. It is nothing too insane and can be a bit repetitive, but it is still so much fun to listen to and really adds to the game. Next up on the pros list is the gameplay. Despite the gameplay in this game being super basic, I think that it is enjoyable enough to keep the game feeling fresh and fun. Although the Legend of Zelda series as a whole has definitely benefited from more modern gameplay elements. Another aspect of the gameplay that is honestly awesome is the amount of gameplay that there is. This game is really old, and despite that, you can still sink many hours into it and have a good time. The next pro that this game has is its progression. It has a very gradual and nice progression system that feels very rewarding and fun. You always get a nice feeling when you pick up an extra heart, a new weapon, or a new item. Next up, we have the visuals. While they are not really anything too special, they are clean and simple, and it makes the game feel more polished. If the visuals sucked, the game definitely wouldn't be as fun. And finally, we have the dungeons. The dungeons in this game are really fun to explore and are packed to the brim with content. Each one has a unique style to it, so they are fun to explore and complete. They aren't perfect though. More on that later. Now that the pros are done, it's your turn to make a pro move and hit that like button. I would really appreciate it if you did. Now it's time for us to move into 5 cons of this game. Jumping right into things, we have the traveling system / movement. It is super slow and annoying, and moving around the map so many times just becomes a chore. It doesn't feel fun anymore once you've walked the same areas over and over and over. Tying right into that, we have the fact that anytime you die in the overworld, it warps you straight back to the beginning, and it's so frustrating and gets really old really quickly. Not only do you get warped back each time that you die, but no matter what, you respawn with 3 hearts. Why? It's so annoying to start with 3 hearts even when you are up to like 12. Why not start with half your hearts or 3/4 or something? The next con is how repetitive the game gets. This really ties into the last 3 cons, but it's more than just those. Even the core combat begins to feel repetitive, and the dungeons gradually lose their flair as the game goes on. Tying into that is the last major con that I have, which are the bosses. There are a few unique ones, but many of them repeat, and I feel like they could have tried a little bit harder. Now the time has come to answer the core question: does The Legend of Zelda still hold up? The answer to this question is actually a hard one to get. On one hand, the game is still really fun to play and a nice relic of the past. But on the other, there are so many other better Legend of Zelda games. Modern improvements have greatly benefited the franchise, and this game feels overshadowed. So to be honest, I don't think it holds up. I still would totally recommend playing it at least once though, because it is very fun. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the video on screen right now where I told my journey of the first time I completed this game.